And hello, friends. We welcome you to another edition of Chapters here on Armstrong Television. Chapters is the show that profiles authors, editors, and publishers in West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. I'm your host, Elliot Parker, and it's great to have you with us. On this edition of Chapters, we're going to be talking about the West Virginia Book Festival, the annual book festival that takes place in Charleston at the Charleston Civic Center. And here to talk to us about the book festival and what they have scheduled for 2018 are our guests, Sarah Mitchell and Terry Wooten. Sarah Mitchell is the Library Public Service Manager with the Kanawha County Public Library, and Terry Wooten is the Marketing and Development Manager for the Kanawha County Public Library. And so, ladies, welcome to Chapters. Nice to have you here as we talk about the book festival. Good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So, tell me a little bit about your all's role with the book festival, how long you've been involved with it, and some of the responsibilities that you have in terms of helping get this book festival put together and put on.
So this is my second year being part of the book festival, and this was my first year. I was responsible for finding the authors and finding the headliners.
Okay, very good, very good. Terry, I know you've been involved with this a little bit longer.
For several years. Pam May used to be the chairperson of the book festival, and when she left the library, we actually did not have a book festival for that next year because of some funding issues that we had. But we've been back about 3 or 4 years now, and so we are co-chairpersons, and we are responsible for all the planning of the whole weekend, all the events, promoting the event, and as Sarah said, she gets the authors, the main headliners, and then we have a committee that works on the program proposals that are submitted to fill out the schedule for the rest of the weekend.
Very good. And we'll get into some of those presenters here in just a minute. But I know one thing that impacted the 2017 Book Festival was the ongoing construction at the Charleston Civic Center. And some people in our audience that made the trip up to Charleston remember that. And that's been sort of an ongoing project there at the Civic Center for a long time. Can you give us any updates on what you know about the construction, how it's coming along, and folks that might be coming to the book festival, what they can expect in terms of layout and where things might be located, generally speaking?
Last year, the people that came, and we really appreciate their patience as we were in the middle of a construction zone, but the main lobby last year was primarily what was just completely open to the outdoors and under construction, and people had to go through that area to get between the two different areas at the Civic Center. That has all been completed, and we've been told that all the construction will be finished by October, so everything should be ready before the book festival. We will be, in the past, we have been in the Grand Hall and the conference rooms that are above the Grand Hall, and in the Coliseum. We used to do the used book sale in the marketplace. The used book sale was in the Coliseum, but this year will be in, we're going to be in the Grand Hall, and then upstairs in the new ballroom. There's a new ballroom that we'll be having some of the speakers up there too.
Very nice. And I know for folks that were there, even in the construction zone, some of the areas that were finished last year, I think people are going to be really pleased with the facility and how nice it's going to be, and what a welcoming venue that will be. Because we saw a little bit of that last year. People that were there and participating in that got to see that. So, Sarah, I want to ask you about the headliners. You mentioned that a moment ago, that's kind of what you're responsible for. What is the process like for you in terms of when you identify, we'd like to have this person as a headliner or that writer as a headliner, what happens next, or what happens for you then in terms of trying to reach out and bring these people to the book festival?
So what I'll do is I'll contact their agent, which depending on the author can either be like a publishing company or an actual separate company of an agency, and then I'll contact them and be like, these are the dates we're looking at. Is that author even available? So we start with, are you even available, or have you booked up yet on those dates? And once we have, if they're available, then we start talking about, would you be interested in coming? And this is kind of our event. And then I tell them about West Virginia and all the positives and all the great things they do. And then they take that information to the author, and we negotiate, and hopefully they say yes, and some of them did.
Very good, very good. So when we look at the schedule this year, and we'll mention all of the authors here in just a moment, but who are considered sort of the headliners for the 2018 Book Festival this year?
Our two main headliners is Debbie Macomber and then Dennis Lehane are our two biggest headliners, but we also have quite a few other authors that we try to make sure we hit something for everyone. So we have something in the fiction, we have the nonfiction, we have the science fiction, we have the children and teens, and there is something for everyone that comes to this festival.
And the festival, I know, actually gets started on Thursday with a sort of a lecture. It's the Jill Lepore Macwrite lecture in the Humanities. So tell us a little bit about that and what's going to be going on for folks that might want to participate in that lecture. Where is it? What time is it? And what is she? Who is she? And what is she going to be speaking about?
So Jill Lepore is a professor at Harvard University. She's a history professor, and she is going to be at the University of Charleston at 7:30 on Thursday, October 25th. And she has written The Secret History of Wonder Woman. And she is also, her next book is These Truth, A History of the United States. So in The Secret History of Wonder Woman, she goes into the origins of Wonder Woman and how she came to be and the impact she had on culture.
Right, and then of course that's very timely with Gal Gadot taking on the Wonder Woman role and the great job that she's done. She's been in some other movies with Batman and all those superheroes come together. So a very timely topic. Is the process for getting a Jill Lepore setting up this lecture, is it the same process you go through with the headliners for the book festival in terms of reaching out and contacting them, or is the process a little different?
We actually don't contact the Macwrite lecture. That's all done by the West Virginia Humanities Council. So they do their own process with that, and then we focus on the authors at the book festival. But all the authors, it's very, very similar in contacting their agents and reaching out and seeing if they're available.
Very good. And for folks who haven't been a part of that, the Humanities Council, through Year Olds Book Festival, has really had some great speakers at that Macwrite lecture over the last few years, and it's I would encourage folks to check that out because it's really been really interesting and a lot of different variety, as you were talking about earlier, Sarah, with the kinds of lectures that are there. Very different but very good as well. Let me ask you about some of the other writers that are coming. We talked about Debbie Macomber and also Dennis Lehane being the featured headliners, and we talked about Jill Lepore just a moment ago, but John Scalzi. Tell us a little bit about John Scalzi and what he's going to be talking about.
Yeah, he is a science fiction writer. He's an up-and-coming science fiction writer. He's most known for his Old Man War series. It's actually a possible Netflix series. They're looking into that, so that would be really cool if it gets picked up. And he has also other New York Times bestsellers, The Last Colony, Fuzzy Nation, and Red Shirts. And he's just a really up-and-coming sci-fi writer, and it's really cool that he was able to come, and we're very excited.
And I know when you look at those top reading lists in terms of what people are reading and what books people buy sort of on a monthly or quarterly or yearly basis, science fiction's always right up there with romance and with mystery and thriller. So I imagine he's going to get a lot of folks interested that like that genre and like that type of reading. David Grann, tell us a little bit about David.
David Grann is a nonfiction writer. He wrote The Lost City of Z, which was also a movie. If you guys want to go see the movie, you can check it out from the library. And he also has a book called The Killers of the Flower Moon, which is the one he'll be talking about at the book festival, and that is about the origins of the FBI. And that is also getting made into a movie.
Very nice.
And then he has another book coming out a week after the book festival, and it's called The White Darkness. So he's our nonfiction writer, and he's had all of his books have been on the top bestseller for nonfiction.
Outstanding. And then Kwame Alexander.
Kwame Alexander, he won the Newbery Award for his book called The Crossover. He writes both children's and teen books. And his books are more sports focused, basketball and things like that. And it's really cool. He's actually getting, his friend Randy Preston is going to be attending the program with him, and he is a musician. So it's going to be a music rap book series, which I'm very excited about, and I think the kids and teens are really, really going to enjoy.
Yeah, very good. In addition to those folks coming, and also the Macwrite lecture that we were talking about, Friday you've got some writing workshops with some really outstanding writers. And I know you all work just as diligently in scheduling this part of the book festival as you do getting the featured presenters. One of the ones I think is really going to be a great one is on Friday, October 26th from 10 until noon. You're having a writing workshop by Meredith Sue Willis, who is from West Virginia and has published, I think, over 14 or 15 different books. But
23.
23, yes. Well, I'm way behind. I need to catch up because she's a wonderful writer, and I've attended classes and workshops that she's done, and she's just fantastic. But she's doing a workshop revising your novel, making it your book the best it can be, or making your book the best it can be. So, Terry, in terms of not only scheduling these folks, but also them or you all in concert with them coming up with topics for the workshops, how does all that process work?
We've been doing the writing workshops for about 3 or 4 years now. Once we started after the year that we did not have a book festival, we'd had some requests to do writing workshops. So we started out the next year with just 2. And it keeps growing every year because they're very popular. You did one for us last year that people loved. And so we always get requests for more writing workshops. And so the schedule's a little bit more full than it has been in the past. But so this year people are going to have to make some choices. It's not just one thing that you can go to. You're going to have to decide between 2. And how that works out is we, in early February, we put information on the website about people who want to submit program proposals. So these authors, these programs are ideas that they pitch to us. So we had more than 20 proposals this year. So our committee met and read through all of them. We had some great proposals. It was really hard. Actually, that's why we ended up with a few more, because there were some that we couldn't keep it to the number that we originally thought, because there were so many that we just wanted to do. So that's how that process works, and I think we've got some great workshops this year.
Yeah, I mean, and really led by some great writers. So in addition to Meredith Sue's workshop that's going to be offered from 10 until noon that Friday, you've also got Jake Stump and Brad Stoniker. Jake Stump's a great workshop leader too, and they're doing a workshop on Muscat's Big Adventure, a quest to find the gold in Blue Mountains. So what's going to be kind of the thrust of that workshop?
This is a book that Jake was the writer, and then Brad was the illustrator for the book. And what they've been doing is going around and meeting with and doing children's writing workshops. This is something we've never had, and it's a request that we've had, is to have a writing workshop for children. So they're going to talk about how the process of writing a book, and even talk to the kids about how they can write their own book and produce it.
Oh, that's great. And then the afternoon, you have sort of a break for lunch around noon, and then 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock that afternoon on Friday, you've got a writing workshop by Ginger Brookover, How to Keep Readers in Suspense. So that is something I know for people that like to write and read mystery thrillers, that's going to be something, seems like right up their alley too.
Yeah, most of the requests that we get are for the technical aspects of how do I do a plot? How do I keep readers in suspense? This type of thing. So we were glad that we got proposals this year. Ginger is a faculty member at Fairmont State University, teaches writing there, and she has written 2 books. One is Storm Path, and her latest one is Capital Murder Imbroglio. So.
And we thought that would be a good mix with Dennis Lehane coming. Since Dennis Lehane is such a thriller suspense writer with his books like Gone Baby Gone, Shutter Island, Mystic River, it would be a really good mix for the 2 to have a writing workshop on keeping the suspense, and then we have the suspense writer coming in.
Absolutely, yes. So you can just kind of go work with Ginger and then funnel right in and listen to Dennis talk about it as
absolutely.
well. Very good. And then you've got a later evening or late afternoon, early evening workshop, 3:30 to 5:30, writing workshop by Kathy McMillan, Story Building. So what is she going to be talking about in that workshop?
She is a young adult fantasy writer, and she has written a book called The Sword and Verse, and then a new one coming out this fall, published by Harper Teen. It's called Dagger and Coin. So she's going to be talking about story building and what her writing process is and how she writes her books.
Very good. Those all sound fantastic. Yeah. And if folks want to get signed up for those workshops, if they're interested in one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, or all of them, how do they get signed up for that?
We actually, you can go to the library's website. They haven't been set up yet, but if you go to probably in about a week or two, we'll have them set up on the kanawhalibrary.org website. Just go to our events and classes page, and the calendar will pop up. Go to the date of that event, and you'll be able to sign up there.
Very good, excellent. So in terms of the Saturday programming, I know you've got a lot of things scheduled that day. I know Nancy Abrams is going to be talking about the Climb from Salt Lick, a memoir of Appalachia. Richard Armstrong's going to be talking about the Battle of Lewisburg. We talked about John Scalzi, who's going to be at 11 to 12:30. David Grann, 1 to 2:30. Kwame Alexander is also going to be 1 to 2:30, and then Dennis Lehane is in the Grand Ballroom at 3 o'clock that day. But you've also got some other things going on in addition to those speakers and the workshops, the used book sale and the festival marketplace. So give us some insight or background on what the used book sale is, and then what's the festival marketplace.
The used book sale is the Kanawha County Public Library's used book sale, and I want to remind people that it's just on Saturday. Sometimes people will show up on Friday thinking it's both days, but it is only on Saturday. And these are books, people all year round, people donate books to the library when we weed books as they no longer are in circulation. So we have this huge collection of used books, and we have them for sale all day long. They're at the Civic Center. At the end of the day, once the book sale closes at 5 o'clock, we invite nonprofits to come in between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock to get as many books as they want for free. So we want to encourage people, if you're associated with a nonprofit, please go on wvbookfestival.org, and there's a form there, an application that you can fill out to apply to be someone that comes in. You need to pre-register before October 19th, but we want people to take as many books as they want.
Great, fantastic.
And the marketplace is where we have publishers. Sometimes it's a single author that has a couple of books and wants to sell them in the marketplace. We have our sponsors have tables there as well. Our West Virginia Book Company is our official bookseller for the West Virginia Book Festival, so they have a very large area in there that they'll be selling books by the authors, so that when people want to get their books signed, they can go buy one and then go to the presentation and meet with the authors afterwards. And all of the authors this year have agreed to stay and sign books, and there's really not any restrictions on what they'll sign. So.
Very good. That's excellent. So a lot of moving parts going on that Friday and Saturday in terms of workshops and speakers and the marketplace and used book sale. How does this all come together? I know that we've talked before, and we were talking before our interview that it starts well in advance of October each year. But how does it all come together? Sort of take us behind the scenes in terms of when it all starts and the timeline and how we get up to October and to the book festival itself.
Well, as soon as the book festival ends, we ask people to fill out surveys all during the book festival, because we always want to take people's advice and try to make the next book festival even better than the current one is. So we get those surveys, and we have meetings, and we evaluate, and we go through and we see, okay, what can we improve on, what can we change, what can we do better on, what authors do people want to see next year, and we take all that advice very seriously. And then I immediately start working on contacting authors and working on the next schedule. And then once we get that scheduled, Terry really takes the main lead in getting the word out and helps spreading the word. But it's a huge team effort on the whole Kanawha County Public Library's part. I mean, we have all different departments participating. Facilities is taking care of the book sale, and marketing does the festival marketplace, and we have wordplay for the children, which is done by the children's department. And it's a lot of moving parts, and it's just a lot of people putting in a lot of good work.
Sounds like it. And I imagine a lot of meetings too, and dialogue going back and forth, and
A lot of emails.
A lot of emails, yes.
We and people are constantly always asking about, as soon as it's over, people are asking about the one that's going to happen the next year. So we really do, it's a year-round project that we work on, and we have a lot of volunteers. We really need volunteers for actually the weekend itself. There's so many things that are going on that weekend that we need a lot of people, more than we have staff to cover
Yes.
everything. So our friends group helps, and board members help, but we are always looking for volunteers, and there's a place on the website that people can go and will be able to sign up to be a volunteer.
Great, fantastic. And I know you all have a lot of different sponsors that help you with that. Certainly the Kanawha County Public Library, the Library Foundation of Kanawha County, the Charleston Gazette Mail is a big sponsor, West Virginia Humanities Council. And I would imagine it would be very difficult to put on this kind of festival without those sponsors and without their participation.
It is, and we also have BB&T Foundation, West Virginia Center for the Book, West Virginia Public Broadcasting, West Virginia Library Commission, the Martha Gaines and Russell Worley Memorial Foundation, the H.B. Worley Foundation, and the Friends of the Library. It's a very expensive event to put on, and most of it is the rental of the facility and the author fees. Mm-hmm. So we really depend on those sponsors to help us be able to afford the great authors that we have, and hope that they will continue to support it. And it's important to note that this event is free to everyone. So these sponsors are helping people who want to come and meet their favorite author, or come to a writing workshop, or come to the used book sale. All of that is the whole weekend is free. You have to buy the books in the used book sale, but
yeah, but you can go to the workshops as many as you want to. You
Yes.
can go listen to as many writers as you want, headliners and otherwise. Yeah, all completely free, which is huge. And I will say, having gone to other book festivals in other states, like similar to what you all do, that's not always the case. Sometimes there are tickets that you have to buy, and there's first come first serve tickets, and if you don't get a ticket by a certain day, you can't go. And so I think I hope folks don't take that for granted, the fact that it is free, and everything that happens that weekend is free. So let me play devil's advocate for just a moment. For somebody who maybe is not a reader, or just kind of sees this come up every year, and we've talked about the great work that you all do and all the work that goes into it. Why is it important? Why does it matter that West Virginia has this book festival? So what? So what? If somebody was looking at that and thinking, what's the big deal? Why does it matter? Why are we putting so much work? Are you all putting so much work into this? What makes it important? What makes it matter?
I think it matters because books are a part of life. It's a part of culture. It's a part of our history. It's an important part of who we are. And even though you might not read, a lot of these authors have movies and other different forms of media that haven't influenced our culture. And I think it's really important that we have those and have the opportunity that people get to meet these authors. And that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a lot of people. And I think that's important.
Terry, what about you? Why would you say all this matters? All this is important?
I like to think of past book festivals, and just for instance, last year R.L. Stine, who had record-breaking attendance. We'd never had that many people at the book festival, and he stayed for 4 hours. This is a 70-some-year-old gentleman who stood for 4 hours and signed books and took pictures, and he spent so much time with his fans, and it was so special to see that he, and I said last year, he was just as kind to the first person as he was to the last person. And to see that these authors are such wonderful people, and they love their fans, and they want to meet them and hear why they love their books. And Henry Winkler was also the same way. He stayed for a couple hours, till every person was gone. So that's the part of it that you see, and you think that all the work was worth it.
Absolutely, very good. So Sarah and Terry, in our final moments here with you today, if folks want to find out more information about the book festival, they want to get signed up for the workshops, they want to just volunteer, they want to just get some more information about what's going on that weekend, where can they go to get that information?
All the information is on the website. It's wvbookfestival.org. So we have and we're constantly, as things are added, we will add that to the website, but everything is there. Plus, you can there's a section that has pictures from past events that you can go and see who's been there before.
Very good. Excellent. We've been pleased to be joined today by Sarah Mitchell, who is the Library Public Service Manager at the Kanawha County Public Library, as well as Terry Wooten, who is the Marketing and Development Manager for the Kanawha County Public Library. We've been talking about the 2018 West Virginia Book Festival, which is coming up. It starts on October the 25th with the lecture, the Macwrite lecture led by Joe Lepore, and then everything really gets underway the 26th and the 27th of October, Friday and Saturday, all day long at the Charleston Civic Center. So, ladies, thank you all so much for coming on Chapters, and thanks for the good work that you and your staff do putting this on. It really is a treasure in our region, and it is something that those of us that like books and like reading and writing are thankful to have it, and we appreciate all the work you all do to put into it. So good luck, and we look forward to being a part of that and hoping that you all have a great 2018 festival. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also want to take a moment to thank the staff and management of Empire Books and News for providing our on-site support and assistance today. We encourage you to come down to Empire Books and News and check out any of the author, editors, and publishers we've had featured on the program, because their works are for sale right here at Empire Books and News, and that's located at Pullman Square in downtown Huntington. We also want to take a moment to remind you that if you'd like to stay in touch and in contact with the program, we've got a variety of different ways to do that via social media. The first way that can be done is by email, and our email address is right here at the bottom of the screen. It's lp4@zoominternet.net. Please let us know the name and community in which you're writing from so that we can keep track of that correspondence. If you're a viewer of YouTube and you like to watch programming on YouTube, we have a chapters page through the Armstrong One Wire page on YouTube, and that address right here at the bottom of the screen as well. Once you get to that address and type that address into your search browser, just click the chapters tab, and we've got all of our author, editor, and publisher interviews categorized and organized there for you as well. So we encourage you to stop by and check that out. And if you like Facebook and you're a Facebook user, we also have a chapters page on Facebook, and that address is also here at the bottom of the screen. What we have on our Facebook page is more of our recent author, editor, and publisher interviews archived there on the Facebook page, but you can like that, interact with viewers of the program, share that to your page or to other pages through Facebook and through that social media platform. So if you like Facebook, you like YouTube, you like email, we've made it possible for you to stay in contact with the program by using one of those social media platforms, and we know many of you do that, and we appreciate all the feedback and the sharing and posting and comments that you do provide about the show. And that will do it for us this time on Chapters, but please come again next time, and in the meantime, stay tuned to this station for news and views that impact you and your community.